Are we really dumping the music? Bring the music up. Bring the music up.
Producer, turn it up in my headphones.
Oh. Going back to Rockford. All right. Everybody, welcome inside a live edition of Deep Look on this Tuesday, August 26th. I'm the host and editor, Charlie Eisenhood. Joining me, Ulti-World Senior Editor, Keith Raynor. It is true. We are going back to Rockford. Thank you to Brian Jones for that beautiful AI rendition of We're Going Back to Rockford, which is going to be the new anthem for the college season in 2026. Keith, Rockford is happening.
We heard the rumors. It turns out they're true. We are headed back to Rockford. I'm sure this will engender a lot of jokes, a lot of memes, probably some complaints. But well, let's see how it goes. It's probably not as bad as people are making it out to be. But what is Waukegan, Illinois? That's where D3's going. I'm looking at that.
I admit,
I'm like, what is that?
I had no idea. I assumed it was in Wisconsin because it's a very Wisconsin-like name. It's almost in Wisconsin. It's about halfway between Chicago and Milwaukee, right on the lake. So, suburb of Chicago.
Wait. It's like literally next to the lake. I just watched the UFA game next to the Great Lake turn into a disaster. You're telling me wind is incoming, right? Like
D3, they just wanted to just gust it up a little bit,
Lake Michigan is essentially an inland ocean, right? Like we are destined to be buffeted by 40-mile-an-hour winds.
Well, let's see. What's the field site location? I'm going to look it up in real time right now.
That's fair.
The field site is the Greg Petrie Sports Park. Okay, so let's take a look where it is.
This is a live reaction, folks.
It's solidly off the water. How far? Like 4 or 5 miles as the crow flies off the water.
Okay.
So, and it's right near the airport. I'm not sure that's a good thing because that means there's not going to be any trees. I'll be honest. It could be windy. I'm just going to say it. It could be windy.
Okay.
So Rockford. Okay. I know jokes. For me, it's very different for club nationals to be in Rockford versus college nationals. And let me tell you why. Club nationals is as much a vacation for elite club players as it is an ultimate tournament. Now, yes, many teams are going there looking to win a national championship. They've trained all season. They're, super ready to play, but they also want to go hang out on the beach. And there's also more than half the teams there that have no chance of winning a title. And they're going to be knocked out after 1 or 2 days. And that's fine. And then they're going to enjoy being in San Diego. Now, are they going to enjoy being in Rockford? No, they're not. Sorry. Like, let's just admit it. It's not, it's a desolate suburb. It's not even a suburb, right? It's pretty far from Chicago. But college nationals is kind of a different story. You're not necessarily like going out to the beach ever at college nationals. They host this tournament in the Midwest like half the time. So whether you're in Madison or you're in Milwaukee or you're in Rockford, like, is Rockford clearly a worse city than Milwaukee and Madison? Yes. But the fields are really nice. We just had HS&I there in 2024, and they're nicer than ever. And to me, that's what matters. It's like a good field site. They have a little stadium. They have good fields. They have good facilities. And so I think it is fine. It is fine.
That's my takeaway. It will be fine. I remain concerned about D3 because someone in the Discord just goes, "Oh, that's a windy Chicago suburb." We were literally going to the windy city and then going to the windier part of it.
Yeah, somebody in the Discord just said it's a Chicago suburb by the lake. Will be windy. So
I
buckle up,
love it.
D3. Buckle up. Um, obviously, as per usual, these tournaments are held very close to each other. It's probably like 90-minute drive from Waukegan to Rockford, something like that. Um, and it's very much within driving distance for the entire kind of like hub cities of the Midwest. You can drive from Minneapolis, you can drive from Milwaukee and Madison, you can drive from Chicago, Indianapolis, St. Louis. I think we could have good turnout, and I feel like there's a reason they have this tournament in the middle of the country. It like makes it a cheaper flight for people. It's mostly direct flights into Chicago for everybody all over the country, and again, yeah, the fields are really nice.
Well, I hope I now I have to look to see if there are things for uh my child to potentially do if I can convince my family to come with me this time.
Uh, Liam Grant says, "I don't know what's worse, AI music or the fact I kind of like that song." I mean, I think the AI really they nailed it.
It reminded
Let's
me
see.
that sounded like the old Ulti Village music to me.
You know what? It really feels like CVM ESPN music, right? It's like
A little bit.
we're gonna play some highlights with that like driving rock music underneath it. Let's take this quick reacts mailbag question from Joe Mama in the chat. Which teams in each division benefit or suffer from nationals being in a likely windy location? It can definitely get very windy in Rockford too, by the way. It was very windy at HSNI in June of 2024. Very windy. Like 20 to 25 mile per hour winds.
Well, I can think of a school that had a favorite team in both divisions and is located in a portion of the country where the weather is often poor and they have a lot of disc skills present on the team. So I'm going to go out on a crazy limb here and say
Oh
this is
no.
potentially good for Carlton.
It's hard to disagree with that. I mean, the Pacific Northwest teams, RIP, the North Carolina teams, RIP. Any of the like, mud ball, wind ball, garbage, Great Lakes area teams advantage. But yeah, I don't know.
Calzone, they're saying the Calzone. We'll see. We'll
Yeah,
see about that.
zone teams. Is Cal gonna go back to
Or
nationals
might we
though?
is this gonna yeah, are they even gonna make it back? I mean, we gotta this is the influence now. We're so far ahead of it. We got such an early announcement this year. Maybe we're just gonna see more zone teams. More teams are gonna like this is the time when you're game playing in the season. So you're like, okay, we're working on zone from day one.
Pima says in the chat, sometimes I think about how some people only made club natties once and it was in 2016 and they had to play it in Rockford. There were some legendary games at that tournament though. That was a pretty good club
It,
nationals from a competition standpoint.
I still remember the D3 indoor things that happened at Rockford. So
All right. Anyway, that was breaking news just announced by USAU. And we will move on now to our trivia question of the week.
all right, this week's trivia question of the week is about the club podium. We are coming around to awards season, and I was thinking about players who have appeared on the club podium frequently. There's not a long list of players who've been on there 3 or more times. They've been on the Player of the Year top 3, including winning it.
3+.
So Charlie, can you name the folks who've been on the club player of the year podium 3 or more times? There's some who we talk about all the time. So I think you should have a few layups, but we'll see if you can get to the whole list.
Hang on. Can
Uh,
you tell me how many players there are?
there are 6 such players.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'll think.
Yes, think about that. I'll tell everybody about the 20th anniversary of our friends at Breakmark. They're celebrating their 20th anniversary, doing free giveaways on Instagram every week. So if you're not checking out on that, you are missing out. The free stuff is going out, and you're not in. You're not in. Get in it. They also heard about how their customers really enjoy their bundles, but sometimes you just want one sublimated pair of shorts or a reversible. So they drop the prices on all their sublimated items, their core sublimated items, at shorts, short sleeves, reversibles. It's $35 for a reversible or short sleeve and $30 for shorts. And those are sublimated, not just regular shorts with screen printing. Or anything. This is the full kit. So you get the same quality, the same amazing customer service, but you get to do it at an even lower price. So check out Breakmark. Charlie, think you got any names for the 6?
Yeah, I'm gonna give you some shots at it here. Let me start with Cammy Groom.
That I think is probably the easiest one. Cammy Groom is one. Chat, if you got any suggestions for players who've been on the player of the year podium 3 or more times, go ahead and shout them out.
I'm gonna go Jimmy Mickle.
That is 2.
Oh man. It's kind of hard. I find it surprisingly hard to think about like who had that sustained run of greatness. Past her time. I feel like we started doing this too late for Bo to be one of the answers. I'm pretty confident it's not Bo.
Got some guesses in the chat. Sarah Mextroth, Caleb Denacor. Good guesses. I think both of them have been on twice, I think.
I got one for you. Again, this maybe is this is a stretch, but Mac Taylor?
Mac Taylor. No, I think again you're reaching too far back.
Old.
I'm not sure Mac has ever made the top 3.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Okay, let's see. Trying to think of like who's been recently podi dominant. I don't know, Keith. I'm surprised I'm finding this as hard as I am. You want to give me some hints?
I'm a little too. So two of these players did it in multiple divisions, across multiple divisions.
Sure.
And then a different subset of 2 players have done it recently.
Okay. Trope. Let me go Trope. Trope's probably done it.
Trope is Trope Trope has done it. Yes. Trope has 3 straight, including back-to-back.
Yeah.
I forgot about Trope. So there's actually 7 players. But yeah, I don't know why.
There's 7. Oh, okay. A bonus. Has Finney done it?
No, Finney's at 2.
Yeah. Top 3. She's like been top all club for a while, but maybe not at the top. Let's see. I mean, I think Mextrot's actually a really good guess, so I'm gonna throw that out there.
All right, Mextroth is at 2. The chat's got some good answers. I see guesses for Khalif, Opie Payne, Claire Chastain. Not right, but Robin Fennig. That is correct.
Okay, that makes sense.
Robin
that makes sense. Scandal,
women's and mixed divisions.
Boys. Yep. How about Chris Kocher? He's like
Kocher.
I don't think he's ever won
another one.
He's never won podi, right? But that dude's been rock and roll at the top.
He won in 2021, but he was also on the list in 2019 and runner up last year. But he has won. So he has one into his name. Anna Thompson is another one. Across both
did she get one with AMP? Yeah, okay.
Yes, she won with AMP.
No, she was on the podium this past year, right?
Yeah,
maybe not.
She was runner up 1 year with AMP and then won with AMP as well. And the last one is Rafi. Rafi with Rafi Hayes has 3 straight. Sorry, 3 of the last 4. He didn't have one. He had one in 2021, and then was also a runner-up last year and won this past season.
I suppose I shouldn't be shocked by that. I mean, he's obviously been really good. I guess that year that they almost beat Pony in quarters, like that, he was probably on the podium that year, right?
Yep.
He was awesome. Okay, cool. Good trivia question.
We stumped him.
I should have gotten Robin. I should have gotten Robin.
Yes,
because I knew that she was. I knew that she had done it with Scandal, and I should have known that she did it with Noise because they went to semis twice.
Shout out TD in the chat for getting Robin as well as Stroop.
Alrighty.
Sean wants the full list before we wrap up. So I'll give you the full list one more time. Full list: Cami Groom, Robin Fennig, Anna Thompson, Jimmy Mickle, Rafi Hayes, Chris Kocher, and Claire Trope all have made the Player of the Year podium 3 or more times.
Love it. All Hall of Famers, Keith? I think so.
All Hall of Famer. I mean, are they going to start? They're going to start reaching to the Player of the Year era. So is this going to be a factor? You know, or is this this is going to be on your Hall?
Absolutely.
So
absolutely. I mean, like players are still going to have primary input, but I think that it can and will be used for evaluating players.
I don't know why. I guess I feel like Anna Thompson's still a young player, but like I don't know why I wasn't thinking about her as a Hall candidate. But yeah, I mean, some of these are like basically locks. Most of these
long
are
run.
Locks.
I actually know
I think all these are going to be Paul.
They want to start having media input into Hall of Fame decision making. I don't exactly know to what extent, whether that'll only be for nominations or also for voting. I mean, of course, that's how other sports do their Hall of Fame. So it's gonna be interesting as we start to creep towards this era. All right, let's get into the Ultimate Frisbee Association Championship Weekend. What a great tournament it was this time around. Boston Glory are your 2025 champions. Incredible performance this weekend. They beat Minnesota in the finals, and they take down Salt Lake in the semis. Brilliant offensive performances from Toby DeCrana and Jeff Babbitt. You see Tanner Johnson go correctly, I think, in the shot here for this graphic because he was incredible for their D-line, which converted almost all of their break chances on the weekend. They got 8 breaks in each of the games. And they basically went perfect against Salt Lake. And I think they only missed 1 or 2 chances against Minnesota. And that carried them through to a 2025 title. And Keith, this looked like one of the best teams on paper to start the year. And they closed it out, showing you exactly why they deserve to be considered one of the favorites.
I'll take a victory lap with them because I feel like I had them as my preseason favorite. I said that I thought they were the only team that could have us in a position where we're like, can anybody challenge this team? And I don't know that they quite got there, but basically there was no point in the year in which I didn't think that they were probably the best team. Maybe there was a small window where the Chicago hype had me thinking like, oh, they're 1A, 1B, and maybe Boston's the 1B. But the talent was there. The buy-in was clearly higher this year. And there was more parity across the rest of the league. So to me, this was like kind of a wire-to-wire Boston being the favorite and then eventually taking the title.
Yeah, there was like a little rope-a-dope there when they lost a couple games at the end of the regular season that were
did not
honestly almost garbage time. Like, didn't matter at all. I mean, more than half those games, they were sitting significant starters, and they were missing people. Like, once they got their college kids, this team was so nasty. It's no surprise that they came out and dominated the way they did. And by the way, I just looked it up. They went 8 for 9 on breaks in the final. Technically, they went 8 for 9 on breaks in the semi as well. But that's because they ran out the clock on their final break chance. They had no reason to score, so that doesn't really count. I mean, they basically went 8 for 8 and then 8 for 9, and that is an incredible level of efficiency. I mean, it's impossible to beat a team playing like that. And Minnesota almost did.
Well, Minnesota almost did it their way. The Winchell way, which is like, through a series of improbable events that you're like, is this really happening? And then you're like, oh wait, it's Minnesota. Like, it's like the reverse of what you think when you're watching Atlanta sports. I say as an Atlanta fan. Wow, is this
Oof.
really? Are we losing this game again? But you're like, oh wait, it's Atlanta.
Oh gosh. We're gonna get to Atlanta in a sec.
We will. But
Um,
I can I go backwards to you saying,
you can.
you were like Jeff Babbitt, the towering figure in that graphic, and he was a dominant game. Bro had 0 goals, 0 assists, and like 100 throwing yards and negative receiving yards. And yet I don't necessarily agree. I mean, I think dominant is overstating it, but like he did feel kind of ever present in that game, but in a way more reserved way than you would ever say about a player like Toby DeCrona has 7 assists. Orion Cable like scores like 9 goals in a row, just running deep and big boy.
Cable was incredible.
Toby was literally throwing him jump balls, like just like, okay, go 1-on-1 with Orion, you're gonna lose, and that worked.
Keith,
Uh,
first and perhaps last time, I said Schmeat on the broadcast after the one where he just threw the stone cold Blady jump ball 1-on-1 against Krennic, and Cable just goes up and makes a crazy catch, honestly, like one-handed on a blade that he had to go up early for, and just a Schmeat ball. And what are you gonna do? They like Orion Cable in the air. You have no answer.
You also pulled out a tall timbers, I believe, as well. So don't think I wasn't paying
I did
attention.
throw in a tall timbers.
Evan
hit it around the corner on
I heard
Friday.
that too.
And I wanted to get a tall timbers in on Friday, but I didn't get a chance. So,
well, there were some tall timbers out there. The timbers were talling out there, and credit. We'll sing the praises of Boston. I feel like we did throughout the year. Credit to this Minnesota team, man. I know it's not pretty. They do not make it look nice out there, but when it's crunch time, this team kind of shows up, and they have this way of making this miraculous stuff happen, catching deflected passes. Suddenly, Noah Hansen just like goes Super Saiyan if for like 2 or 3 minutes. It's like he got the Mario star. It has to run out eventually, but for a little while, he just is like a black machine. They put a scare into Boston in a way that made it fun. And really made for a good story after what we saw them do to Atlanta and their comeback against them in the prior match, and after what we saw from them last year at Championship Weekend. And they really get to shove it in the face of the doubters, of which there were many.
look, we'll get into the semi in a second, but just to talk about the final, I mean, this game, they hung around. That's exactly what they did in the semis against Atlanta. They hung around, and absent a brutal third quarter for their O-line, they actually played a great game. I mean, they're tied at the half. They outscore the Boston 3-1 in the fourth quarter. They had multiple shots to break to get within a goal, and their defense got 12 break chances in this game. They got 3 more than Boston. This D-line is legit. It is super legit. And I think they proved this weekend that they have number 1 defense in the league, and that, having a kind of a crummy O-line can be overcome with great defense. And the crowd plus the sideline energy, I think the coaching from Ben Feldman, and just the skill of the players on that D1 unit added up to them getting a lot of chances. I mean, great pulling, great sideline traps that got them so many blocks this weekend. Star individual layouts. Like Kyle Suflo, that kid is amazing. Like, I feel like we need to be prepared for the Suflo takeover here in Ultimate, because there's some serious skill and explosiveness. Obviously, Justin Burnett, great plays. Just a confidence to go out there and apply pressure. I mean, they gave that game a real go after almost getting blanked in the third quarter, and giving up 5 straight breaks to start the second half.
Yeah, and I thought Will Brandt stood out for their offense in general through the course of Championship Weekend, but even he wasn't immune to the flaws that caught up to their O-line in that game. And I'm sure it's frustrating, but their defense really picked it up. And again, that ability, they don't give up. They make a bunch of hustle plays. Greg Cousins had that ridiculous. I still am not exactly sure how he made that catch falling down. It's hard to. I can't even really
Whoa, wrong hand.
describe what was happening. He was like going deep, and then it was short, and he like tried to come back to it. So he had to reach around the defender who was chasing him, but then he also like awkwardly leapt. I don't know. It was a weird moment, and I don't know how he managed to catch that. Bevon had one where he dug out a short-armed puck like behind him and
Yeah.
like fell backwards, like reverse layout. It was a kind of a they had that signature Minnesota flair, you know?
Yeah. And like they did the little things well all weekend. Pulling, timeout calls, you know, sideline traps, breaking sideline traps, all of those little marginal things that you kind of have to work on, almost like a set piece. They did really well with that stuff. And it added up to actual points in the games. Um, and you could argue it won them the game against Atlanta. And the Atlanta Hustle, Keith, had a 4-goal lead halfway through the third quarter and then just imploded down the stretch under the pressure of Minnesota's reset defense.
Disappointed and disgusted, Charlie. Those are the two words that come to mind. uh, I mean, it's just what are you gonna do? To be fair, Minnesota like really ratcheted up in that fourth quarter. I mean, their defense came out
For sure.
hair on fire in the fourth, but Atlanta was super not prepared to respond to that at all, and really kind of folded under that pressure in a lot of ways. So I give a lot of credit to Minnesota for flipping that game on its head, but obviously Atlanta's got to feel like they gave one away that they could have taken.
I want to ask you, do you blame the O line for Atlanta? Or do you feel like the D line should have done better than 6 for 13 on chances? They got more break chances than Minnesota, if you can believe that.
Yeah, but some of those Minnesota break chances were like in front of the end zone. uh, the quality of the break chance is not necessarily reflected in the numbers. Uh, some really bad turnovers from Atlanta, field position wise, late in that game. So I don't necessarily blame the D line. I think the offense has got to avoid that kind of run, especially against a team that's defense first like Minnesota. You getting broken, that's not the end of the world. But letting them roll together a bunch of breaks and put you in a position where like now your subbing rotation has to get thrown off. You have to start questioning yourself. Like that is what you needed to avoid. And that was where they fell down.
I mean, I said this on the air, and I'll repeat it again here because I think it's worth noting. When Josh Klain, Matt Rader, and Quinn Snyder combined for 11 turnovers, you shouldn't be losing the game. But Minnesota somehow overcame that. I mean, some brutal turnovers from Klain and Rader in particular in that game. And in the end, Paul Krennic was unbelievable. 5 blocks.
Oh my gosh.
Thomas Shope, I thought, had a great
Crazy.
game. And yeah, I mean, Atlanta, they blinked again under the bright lights. I don't feel like they have the reset system necessary to deal with the pressure that they were seeing from an elite defense. Like when they can get Austin Taylor out into space, power position, deep shot, they are unstoppable. But when they start having to go back and forth between the handlers, it looked really bad at times. They were having a hard time switching the field. And then, just some kind of unfortunate errors. Adam Miller with his only drop of the season in a brutal spot on a short field. And I thought that Minnesota, again, like the pulling battle, Minnesota won that all game. There were a lot of pulling errors, offsides, roller pull out of bounds before midfield. And, Atlanta kind of like coughed up too many opportunities, it felt like.
Yeah, they had the mishandled pull, right? Where they like touched it early and had to take it from the back of the end zone and stuff. Like that kind of stuff was a sign of nerves to me, and cracking under the pressure. So
And the Minnesota fan base was out in force and loud. Colin Camp said he's like the second or third loudest he'd ever heard Breeze Stevens. And he played for Madison for 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it was.
fun season, I think. front to back. I mean, a lot of drama along the way. Even if I know we were both like all aboard the Oakland bandwagon early on, and it amounted to very little by the end. But it's definitely some intrigue throughout the journey to get here. Even if my assertion that the number one team was the number one in the beginning and won their way through the season on, like, I feel like that doesn't capture the drama that happened between here and
there. Any quick thoughts on Salt Lake?
I mean, I give them a ton of credit. I did not think that this team would be this good this season. I think they were outclassed in their championship weekend match, but they were one of the teams that felt like they were more than the sum of their parts. And I think you got to give a lot of credit to the leadership of the team for achieving that.
They hung in there tough against Boston for 2.99 quarters. And then a very, very brutal mistake at the end of the third quarter. Not only turning it over with a few seconds left on the clock, but giving like a power position deep shot going the other way that Boston converted to kind of break the game open, and that was it. So, but I thought they played well. I feel like they are going to learn from the opportunity they had this weekend. They got a lot of young players. They're like a piece or two away. Like they need a couple players to step up big. Sorry for the crying toddler in the background, Keith. I don't know if you can hear that, but
I hear it, but I'm never going to blame you.
Daycare summer vacation right now, so
me too.
Yeah, that's parent life. So yeah, I think Salt Lake's they're really well coached. They're a disciplined team. I think that they get more out of like players who don't have a ton of experience than you can really expect most teams to get. And I think that they could win a title in a couple of years if they keep getting better and they add a couple players.
I think that's possible. I also could see them fulfilling this role for a few years too. I could see them being the best team in the West, getting a championship weekend, and even making a championship or so. But it's a tough road to hoe.
Is Boston going to just be dominant? I want to come back to one other thing before we move on. Toby DeCrana is putting some real questions about who the best player in the world is, I think. He is incredibly good. And like, I know how great Don DeMarais has been, and he looks so awesome at the US Open, and he's been so awesome at the international level and had a really good season for Chicago. Even if he was maybe not at his best in the playoff game against Minnesota. But Tobe is right there. Like, those guys are going to be duking it out for European supremacy for years to come.
And what are they? Toba's like 22 and Don's like 25 or something, right? Like they are at the beginning of being two of the best players in the world. So
I believe
exciting times.
Tobe will still be eligible for U24s 2 years from now.
Yes. That's how I know that he's like 21 or 22, because he still has another U24 cycle.
Crazy. But yeah, he was awesome. I mean, you don't necessarily want to over rely on assist count or whatever, but it's not just that he was throwing assists. It's like the way that he was throwing assists, the confidence that he was breaking the mark. He was by far the most important offensive piece for Boston. And, that's with Jeff Babbitt, a really good offensive player out there.
Zero hockey assists. So, what was he really doing?
Yeah. He was putting it into the end zone, Keith. No warning track power around here.
Okay.
In other news, the Western Ultimate League is folding effective immediately following a brutal drubbing in the PUL WUL All-Star game. 15-9 doesn't even tell the story, Keith.
No, the Premier Ultimate League was up like 6-0 or something to start this. They were up 9-2 at half. The Western Ultimate League able to make it competitive, and we had the Western Ultimate League as the favorite. We felt like they had a higher percentage of their top end players on their All-Star roster. And I mean, it was pretty windy, but Peru ultimately came out and just dogged them. Jolie Krebs
I was not
was
down.
feasting.
Krebs is a beast. How about Eileen Biquette for the PUL? 2 assists, 2 goals, 2 blocks, +4, 167 yards of offense, and just 1 turnover.
Hometown too, right? Like playing for the hometown team.
Like, I think from
going
Milwaukee.
Going in. It's the right time.
Number 97 for anybody who watched and maybe didn't catch names. Yeah. Awesome.
I will say though, Western Ultimate League might have had the play of the day with that Abby Thorpe skying through people catch. So
yeah,
the win still goes to the PUL. I pray. I still am praying that someone reveals that there were some backroom stakes on this, and PUL leadership, like Western Ultimate League's got to cook them dinner or something. I don't know. Like they gotta help do some jersey stuff, something fun. I hope there were some stakes, because it turned out to be like the wind made it a little less fun a game, but it was great to see all the support and the big time playmaking happening still.
Brent says, "Are they actually folding?" Just to be clear, I was joking. They are not folding. It was it was a tough look though. Everybody expected the Western Ultimate League to dominate this game. Like, people were talking about it before, that they were concerned that it was going to be a blowout, and it's like it's like that meme, like, call an ambulance, but not for me.
There is going to be a blowout.
PUL simply played like better, smarter Ultimate. WL is just trying to like jack moonballs, and they had a lot of mistakes, just like drops and
yes,
at some
bad
point
drops.
they had 2 goals at halftime and something like 40 turnovers. That gives you a sense of how that game was going.
And the PUL's got to be like, we didn't even set, we set in like the 1.5 squad. Like if we send the real hitters, like what are you doing?
I don't know though, Keith, because like Kayla and Dina are out there together on a line for the Western Ultimate League, and they like immediately get broken. And it's like, okay,
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
What's going on?
The VUL's like, we have more stars to cut. Do you need our even bigger players? We could really run the table out here.
Do you think this says anything about the relative strengths of the league, or is this just a meaningless All-Star game?
For the soundbite, it absolutely. I mean, the PUL is vastly superior at this juncture. You gotta say the talent is in the PUL, but in reality, it's a showcase All-Star game. Like, no, I don't think it. I think we've seen enough on the field to feel like the leagues are pretty comparable. So, no, in that sense, no. But for the fun of it, yeah, talk your trash.
Absolutely. Like, you got people you never heard of out there just balling for the PUL. By the way, Krebs is the best player on the field. I'm committing. Jolie Krebs is making the next World Games team. So nasty. She is so good.
I don't know if this is going to be a hot take in a year. I feel like there's a chance everybody's going to be on this bandwagon.
I've been on this bandwagon. I was telling somebody about Jolie. I was like, she carried this SUNY Binghamton team to college nationals and like took them into the bracket. They're like, SUNY Binghamton? I was like, yeah, SUNY Binghamton. And then they are now never going to be heard from again now that she has graduated.
Metro Beast, baby.
Metro Beast. She is the literal Metro Beast.
She is the embodiment.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little Pro Champs. The final regular season club tournament of the year is almost here. We begin on Saturday. Live streaming coming your way on Ultiworld. Stay with us. Going back to Rockford.
There's a city hidden in depths of Illinois, lying in the shadows and waiting to rise. Ultimate plays descend.
Lately I've been thinking about all those things you said, all those promises and IOUs I didn't get. I've been beating myself
Aloha, everyone. Are you tired of the summer heat? Well, imagine this. It's February. You're on a stunning beach in Hawaii. There's sun on your skin, a Mai Tai in your hand, and you're getting ready for a game of Ultimate. Sounds pretty good, right?
That dream can be a reality. Kaimana Classic is the world's most aloha-packed ultimate Frisbee tournament held over President's Day weekend, February 14th through 16th, 2026 in Honolulu, just steps from Waikiki Beach. This year, the tournament is mixed and so much more than just games. Your bid includes 3 days of action, sponsored parties, meals, awesome swag, and more.
Don't wait. Kaimana is accepting bids until September 26th, so get your team's bid in now. For all the details and to submit your bid, visit hawaiiultimate.com/Kaimana-classic. That's hawaiiultimate.com/Kaimana, Kaimana-classic with a K at the beginning and the end. Mahalo e nualoa.
Well, Keith, would you rather go to Rockford or to Honolulu? I know it's a tough choice.
I'm going with the beach in Waukegan.
There we go. Listen, elite freshwater surfing in the winter. I've seen it. My mom lives like 30 minutes from the lake north, like up north of Milwaukee. And the surfers are in like full wetsuits in the middle of the winter. It's like freezing cold in Wisconsin, and they're surfing the lake. It's pretty cool to see.
I will not be
All right.
doing that under any circumstances.
No, I respect them, but I could never. Pro Champs is coming up this weekend. Let's take a look at the pools. We have 8-team pools. Only the best at this tournament. This is the best Pro Champs field we've had since COVID, for sure. Like, it's basically the best teams. There's the women's division. Fury, I'll just give you the pools, I suppose. Fury, no, not you, Siri. Get out of here. Fury, Brute Squad, Sixers, Phoenix, Pool A, Riot, Scandal, Flipside, Molly Brown, Pool B. Molly Brown is the bottom seed at this tournament.
Which, I could see how we got here, but it should make
You mean
for some
losing
for some fun
15-1
Ultimate.
to Fury is not good?
It's not good. It's not good. That said, do we have the best teams? Where's Parcha? Parcha fans, stand up. Where's the chairs? Bring the chairs out. We won't find that out until later in the year. But we have a very good field. Don't get me wrong. Riot is your 2 seed, Molly Brown is your 8 seed. What does it all mean? This is going to be a big tournament for trying to draw some tier cutoffs and also to see some matchups. Who matches up well where? Because I feel like all we really know right now is that Fury looks like they're the favorite. And after that, I feel like there's a lot of question marks, a lot of story to be written. And
at US Open, we didn't
there's
have the
7
World
teams here
Games
that feel like they
players.
could be, yeah.
And that's a big deal, right? Like, a team like Scandal is going to be much more competitive than they were at US Open. I have Scandal as a slight favorite in Pool B, but I believe in the Riot hype, Keith. They look really good. I do think Scandal's the best team there. I'm a little worried about Flipside. Kayla got hurt in a play towards the end of that All-Star game, like collision with Jolie Krebs. And I think she was already dealing with some hip stuff, and now, like, she didn't play again. Seems like maybe it's not great. I don't know if she's going to be available this weekend. And then Molly back with their World Games folks. That's a big deal. I guess I don't know if the Cardinals are playing this weekend, but hopefully yes. This is kind of the like tune-up tournament before we get to nationals, because like all these teams are going to be at nationals. We don't have to worry about that.
They are rostered for Molly Brown. Sixers also another team that's impacted by that. Obviously, the Britta Santos injury is going to change the outlook for Sixers, and so we'll get a better look at what we think they might look like this year. But Lauren Kimura coming back as well, so could switch stuff up for Sixers. We also have Phoenix with the late breaking roster additions, adding Sarah Mextroth. I don't think she's playing this weekend, unfortunately, but we're seeing some late season changes.
Yeah, it's going to be exciting.
It's going to be a weird year too with the roster change. Like, well, I don't know how that's going to impact the pody. Like, what are we even counting what happened prior to this weekend?
I think you have to count it, but with a
I'm
big,
kidding.
big grain of salt, right? Like, you can't. There's certainly not going to be any punishment applied to the players who are like on the World Games rosters that didn't play at U.S. Open. Like, you can't.
Is
you
there
can't punish
not?
them
I
for
mean,
that.
if you're good but you didn't play the whole season, like, I don't know, man.
I mean, it could be a tiebreaker, I guess, but it's not like you're going to hold it against them.
No, you wouldn't hold it against them, but we talk about this every year with awards. It's about what you put on the field, and if you weren't there for whatever reason, you got married, you played in the World Games, you were injured, any of those things, you weren't there.
Fair. So other pool, honestly, I don't really know what to expect with that Brute Squad Sixers Phoenix trio. Like, I feel confident Fury's going to win those games, but besides that, I don't really know what's going to happen. I think I feel like Sixers might be the second team in that pool. Is that crazy?
Interesting. Even sans BDS, that doesn't shake you.
It does shake me a little bit, but I don't know. I'm just like so hyped up on Lauren Kimura that maybe it doesn't matter to me. No, I probably should just say Brute is too.
Yeah, I feel like I got to come from the starting position of Brute is too, especially if Phoenix doesn't quite have the full complement. Otherwise, I'm curious about seeing Phoenix and Flipside and Molly Brown, all the lower seeded teams, but I think all have the potential to kind of like progress to the mean of the level of play that we could see from them. It's everybody's kind of been in early season mode. The World Game stuff has kind of made it a little wonky, so I wouldn't be surprised to see those teams be better than what we've seen prior in the year. But I gotta come from the starting position of feeling like Brute Squad has a step ahead.
By the way, the Sixers roster for this weekend is not it. Like, actually looking at it, they're missing a bunch of their best players. I guess I don't totally know, like, what's Sarah Jacobson's plan for the series? Is Molly Wedge playing the series? Like,
they have a few like
important.
series only players,
right? They often do that too. So, but actually looking at the roster they have this weekend, no, they're going to finish last in this pool probably. Okay, let's move on. Noting that they have their coaches on the roster this weekend, so like they're straight set in the I'm just here so I don't get fined roster to this tournament. So I rescind all my thoughts about Sixers this weekend. To mixed, we go Hybrid, Dragon, Sprocket, and Space Force in Pool A, BFG, Slow, Exist, and Mixtape in Pool B. Mixtape, the bottom seed at the tournament. I gotta be honest, like, for me, it's like who of the top 3 seeds is gonna win? Like, I know we talk about mixed being crazy and who knows what could happen, but I really feel like Hybrid, BFG, and Dragon are the clear kind of like cream of the crop here, and I expect one of those teams to take it home, and I'm not sure I can go away from Hybrid.
Interesting that you have so much confidence. I do think I get where you're coming from, but BFG started off the season rocky. Are they going to be the team that we saw at the US Open, or the team that we saw at Pro Elite, or are we not really thinking too much about that? Don't forget Hybrid has some weird losses. Like, nobody has the spotless record, and maybe when you add the context of their overall performances, you get there. But like, even Hybrid, they like I mentioned, they had the weird loss. Dragon Thrust, they've lost 2 and 3 games at their respective tournaments this year. So I don't know. It's like Sprocket and Exist, like, all the expectation for Sprocket coming into this year after what we saw from them in Nationals last year. They certainly haven't lived up to the hype yet, but could they turn around? Or can Exist get through some of these universe point games that have given them trouble? Like, I think that there's more likely to be some surprises than there are for it to just be the chalk.
Maybe, Keith. I believe more that US Open is a snapshot of where things are kind of more true. And Hybrid went undefeated there, didn't have a ton of close games. BFG played really well. but did lose to Dragon. And like I know Dragon lost that game to Disco Club, but I just think Disco Club is good. So yeah, I mean, we'll see. If you want to be bold and pick against those teams, I'm happy to see you do it. But I'm taking
I will not be
I'm
picking
taking
against
hybrid
hybrid.
BFG in the finals. I'm taking hybrid BFG in the finals and hybrid to win. I'm going full chalk. I'm a big believer in hybrid.
I am as well. Hybrid, I feel pretty solid about. I think, I don't know, are they a bigger favorite in their respective division than Fury? That I'm not
Surely not.
clear on, but I feel like those teams are the two teams that feel like they're like a tier above the other teams in their division at this moment, to me.
All right, you want to pick your? We didn't pick in women's, but I just made my picks for mixed. Who you taking?
Um, do I think Exist or Sprocket? Like I like Space Force, but I don't know if I like them to like get all the way to the final. I've seen them beat Toro is a good sign, but it's in region. Do I think Exist can turn it around? They are really lacking for like big time wins aside from their win over Hybrid. Yeah, sure. Let's do it. We're on the Krebs hype train. I'll have a Hybrid over Exist.
And how about the women's side? You taking Fury?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Fury. I'm gonna take Fury over Brute.
I'm going Fury over Scandal.
Okay.
All right, let's move on. Men's division. 8 teams here as well. Revolver, Dig, Rhino, and Bravo together in Pool A. Pony, Truck Stop, Ring, and Machine in Pool B. Machine deservedly coming in as the bottom seed. But will they finish there, Keith? It's go time for Machine, right? You can't just come in here and play some little nonsense lines like you did at US Open. It's like and then they get knocked out of UFA. Like let's go. I want to see this team show me something.
It's CHI Cargo time for Machine. Are you? I mean, I know there's some talk after US Open like this is embarrassing. Like actually people selling stock in the team, despite the weird roster stuff. Are you on the side that like this team's going to bounce back and show that they're a championship contender, or do you think that maybe they showed a little too much of their hand?
I'm on the bounce back train. I mean, I guess we don't totally know who's going to play this weekend. But like long run, they have a great roster. And like they were missing a lot of pieces at US Open, which I think is why they played weird lines. You know, that all said, like I need to see Nate Goff play better. I was not impressed with his performance in the UFA game 2 weeks ago. Like Paul Arders needs to be better. Don is the reason that they've been like stabilized at all. But McGuckin, Rutledge Smith, we need to see these guys get integrated. I'm super excited to see Bon Tom, who I think has been having a marvelous year in 2025. They have so much talent. There's no way they're not going to bounce back.
That's how I feel too. There's just too many good players on this team for them to be this like blasé, and yeah, it is worrying to see the team so discombobulated at the US Open. Like they had enough talent that they didn't have to look like they were just getting rolled over.
I know, but
that's
no Don,
but there's so
no
many
Bon
good players
Tom,
rejoining this team.
No Rutledge Smith, no McGuckin. I would say no Joe White, but I don't expect that we're going to get him back for nationals. So, but that's a lot. That's like multiple elite starters. And Desmarais been the best Chicago player, in the UFA this season.
But they could play better. They could play better and go 1 and 2 in this pool, right?
Well, this is pro champs. And let's keep in mind also, pool play doesn't really matter because everybody makes quarters. Weird format.
You say that until you have to play hybrid in quarters or whatever.
Fair.
Yeah, I think actually making the picks, even if I expect them to play better, is a lot harder. Like Truck, Pony. I think Ring is going to be the team that most people are, I think, selling on. They lost a lot of key talent. I still think they're good, obviously, but it's hard to feel like they have a championship contending squad, and every other team in their pool you could make a case for.
I agree. You think Ring finishes last in this pool?
I think they finished in the bottom 2 slots in the pool, and I don't think that they challenge to make a run in the bracket.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. I think they're going to finish last in the pool. I really do.
Yeah, I think that's the most likely outcome right now.
What
Bulletin
are my thoughts on this pool? I think I go Pony, Machine, Truck, Ring, but not tons of confidence in that because again I don't know who's all playing for Machine this weekend. Like everybody's on the roster.
I'm going Pony, Truck, Machine, Ring.
Okay.
Even with a more talented Machine, I don't know if they're going to bring it together for pool play. It just doesn't seem like their style.
Who else has something to prove this weekend? Like, I don't think Revolver has much to prove. They're the 1 seed. Obviously, if they back up their U.S. Open win, that'd be pretty impressive. But if they don't win, I don't think I'm like going to be worried about Revolver. And remember, they did it without Michael Ing, which is wild. Like, I feel like I need to see what Rhino's got at full strength because they were missing a bunch of pieces.
Are they going to be at full strength? Their roster is missing most of those pieces still. I don't know if this roster is just incomplete, but
it's too late.
There's a lot of missing names.
Once you set these rosters, you're right.
There's no Rafi Hayes here.
And there's no Henry, right?
There's no Henry Ing here.
Wow. Well, then I guess we just have to wait for nationals to see what Rhino's going to look like.
Regionals, maybe?
Yeah, man. Sucks to have people not cooking it with the full roster here, but I get it. Those guys have been traveling to China. They might still be jet lagged. I've been jet lagged until like today.
This is Rhino, not Rhino Slam. You get Rhino Slam later. This is just the Rhino part. There's a reason there's no exclamation point right now.
All right, picks.
I mean, before you jump out, I think when you're looking at Pool B, do you feel like people are just kind of skipping over Dig? That they're being kind of left out of the conversation that Revolver and Pony and Truck and if you're optimistic, Machine and Rhino. Do you feel like Dig is just kind of getting short shrift, or do you think that they are?
Well, we haven't said their name, so maybe we're giving them short shrift, but I am not.
I mean, they beat Truck at US Open.
I am not a doubter at all. Yeah, they looked good at US Open. They lost by 2 to Revolver. It's their only loss. I think they're dangerous. I mean, look at what they just did in UFA. I know it's not exactly the same roster, but like Simon Carapella, Oscar Graf, they had great weekends. Obviously, Babbitt, DeCrana. Like Babbitt might not even play this weekend, right? Like if he's a little banged up, I don't know exactly what we're going to see, but I'm definitely a believer in this team.
Does winning the UFA championship bolster or hurt Dig's chances, specifically at this tournament, not to win a title this season? Do you think they're going to be more championship hungover or more like fire, like we're on all cylinders right now?
No, I think it's like a letdown spot for sure.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought too. The other team with something to prove, obviously, is Bravo. We haven't seen this team, right? We feel like we don't know what they're about. They love being slept on. I think that's the ideal place for them. They've had a lot of success coming from that place. But like, are they a real deal team or are they just like a middle of the pack elite team? I think we're gonna find out this weekend. I mean, maybe they'll come into nationals again as a 4 or 3 seed in their pool and turn things on its head right away. That would
no
be
Quinn Finer this weekend,
Bravo,
Keith. No Quinn Finer this weekend.
Cody Spicer though.
Chris Strubb says roster is not incomplete.
Yeah, so they're missing guys. Yeah, I think Chris Strubb is saying the roster that's on USAU is the group that's playing at this tournament. I think that's how I'm interpreting that.
Oh, yeah. I guess I don't know how to interpret that. I now that you've said that, I agree with your interpretation, but maybe Chris can let us know in the chat if that's what he meant. Because like the rosters are like, I think they're locked already, or maybe they lock. I want to say they lock Monday. Somebody in the chat will know when they lock. That there is at some point you have to submit your event roster, and then you're committed. So TD says Cody Spicer out of retirement is wild.
I guess I don't know for sure it was if he was part of their JV team. Like maybe they just pulled him up for their varsity.
Well, he's on the official event
crew
roster for this weekend.
Yeah, but so is Mikey Lund. So I don't know.
True.
Maybe Mikey's out of retirement. I don't know. Where's Atkins was here a little while ago. Maybe he does.
All right, let's get to it. Let's make picks. Who you got?
I'm trying to create some spice here, but it's just hard for me to pick over Revolver the way they're playing right now. At least to like make the run. And I'm right now, I'm ready for Pony to reassert themselves as like, okay, people think Revolver is the best team, but like maybe it should be us. Maybe you need to be paying more attention to us. I'm taking Pony to win this over Revolver, I think.
Wow. Okay. Feels like availability is going to be a big thing this weekend. Now I have to like look at every single roster to make sure that I feel like I know. And I didn't do this as much in the other divisions, which I should have. Pony looks like they've got a full roster. By the way, Rico lets us know in the chat. It's Wednesday at 5 p.m.
So there's still time
to lock the roster. Yeah. So that maybe some teams are playing games. I doubt it. Yeah, I mean, I could see Pony winning. Let me spice it up. I'll take Machine over Pony in the final.
Lots of spice.
Let's amp it up.
Maddie says Cody's playing. Mikey will play if necessary. Kind of slim roster for them too. So we're still not going to see Bravo. I mean, Maddie, Charlie and I bring our cleats. Like Maddie Jackson in the chat here.
Celebrity point. All right. Well, let's take a look at the streaming. We got the streaming sketch. It's going to be officially posted soon. We got the draft version of it here. I actually think Truck Ring is wrong in round 2, by the way. I don't think you updated.
Yeah, I think we had to make we made a late change, right?
There's been some weird stuff. It's really hard with just 2 pools. But anyway, showcase games are on that left yellow column. Revolver Rhino, Hybrid Sprocket, Riot, Molly, and Pony Truck on day 1. And then we'll have 2 quarters on the showcase, and then semifinals, and then the other 3 finals on Monday. And then we've got Field Pass going on all weekend long with a 3-game Field Pass. So I'm not going to read all those games off, but we get to see a lot of these teams. There are some teams we're not going to see on day 1, like Ring we're not going to get to see on day 1, but we should get to see them on day 2 because everybody makes quarters. So if you don't see your favorite team at all or much, expect to see them more on Sunday during quarters. So Keith, what are you most fired up for? You're on the call this weekend.
I mean, I'm definitely interested to see what like Molly Brown has to bring to the table. I mean, all of these showcase games look pretty compelling to me. The teams that we feel like we don't know enough about, Molly Brown, Machine, like those are the teams I really want to see what they look like at this tournament because they could be title contenders, but they, it could be a boat when you open the box. So
yeah, I'm. And how about the little mixed championship rematch, hybrid sprocket? That's fun.
that's got to have some extra juice, right? If you're Sprocket, there's got to be some extra juice in that one.
Definitely. And Pony Truck should be really fun. Like a revived Molly against Riot, that should be fun. That's kind of like a prove it game for Molly. It feels like after, how their
That's
US
the
Open
game I
went.
think I'm circling here, though. Is that one? Right, Molly Brown. That's the most
Should be
informative
a
game
ton
on
of
the
fun.
board.
There is a 5th round on Saturday. We're not streaming in that round. There's like a variety of reasons why it's really difficult. Number one, we can't do 5 rounds in a day. It's just too much. But there's like lighting issues for that round. So even though there are a bunch of good 1-2 matchups, we're not going to get to see those, unfortunately. But is what it is. Obviously, plenty of coverage to enjoy. And we're looking forward to bringing you all of the semis, all of the finals, and, a pretty in-depth coverage of pro champs.
Charlie,
so
before we jump to our mailbag question, I have a addition to the show.
Okay.
Just because they deserve it, Charlie. I'll have you know that in World Games Fantasy we lost to the subscribers.
Brutal.
So big shout out
the
to
official,
the subs who beat me.
Official fantasy.
Beat me by 0.6 points. The subscribers beat me by 0.6 points. Which is a tough L. Tough L to take. I maybe shouldn't have taken like Lev Kovalchuk, apparently, who had 4.8 fantasy points.
Yeah, the turnover penalty was crazy.
I thought that was the lock of locks, but alas, 11 turnovers.
Turnover penalty did you in. Hey, so we did our fantasy draft in our subscriber bonus segment. We'll take a quick rundown of some of the best and worst picks. I believe I had the literal worst pick of the draft. And we will also be talking about UFA 2026, too early preview. And we'll talk about what we got right and what we got wrong during this UFA season. So join us for that right after this. It's for all subscribers. Go to ultiworld.com/subscribe. Any level of subscription gets you into the Discord and gets you into the podcast bonuses. So we'd love to have you there in our Out the Back segment. All right, mailbag question of the week. Here we go. Bob Cryer mentioned on his episode of Coach Speak that he might structure practices differently if he had a full multi-person coaching staff like football, which has, running backs coach, tight end coach, D-line coach, et cetera, along with the various coordinators and everything else. In a perfect world, what different coaching roles would exist on an ultimate team if budget were no limit?
What are the roster limits is the question. I think that the more like the thing about ultimate that's very different from like football and baseball is that everybody has to do everything. So there's way less specialization. That said, I actually do in college really like breaking my players up into groups to work on specific skills. I think of the most obvious divide is like handlers and cutters, and working on different elements of the reset system that are going to apply to different players or what you're doing in the red zone. But allowing those players, another great example is positions and zones. Working with the people who are going to be in the front layer of your zone versus working with the people who are going to be covering downfield players. I think that's a really great approach to teaching zone. And it's what I like to do with zone. So I think that there is some of that, like the specialization in coaching in football is a product of the specialization of the players. Now, when this question came up in Discord, and when you're thinking about what could you use the resources of having more coaches for if you were going to specialize for them, I think you would be looking at defensive coaching, offensive coaching, like coordinator type style stuff where that person's really able to drill down on the opposing team's game plan when you're scouting. They're able to help really focus on designing the team's coverages on defense or the set plays on offense, etc. I think you would really want someone focused on the chemistry and communication of the team, specifically deciding the language that the team's going to use, the terminology, some of the things that you're doing to communicate, what your feedback systems look like. I actually think that would be a pretty important role for managing a team. If you were a coach and you could like really start to divide up people. I think you probably have someone who's focused specifically on like physical training, injury prevention, recovery. Maybe that's more of a trainer than it is a coach, but I think you could see that person functioning in both of those roles. And I do think it would still be important to have an overarching head coach who has the vision of how all the pieces fit together, who can be I think it's important to have somebody who makes the final call, makes the decision. I do think that's valuable. So I do think you would also have that type of role. You can drill down into more minutia if you want when you're talking about like being a handler coach versus a cutter coach, or whatever, or special teams. You want to talk about pulling and pull coverage. Like I could maybe see that kind of stuff, but this would be the starting point. Would be kind of these 4 or 5 different roles.
I think my big thing is you have a head coach at the top. You then have an offensive and defensive coordinator. Now, a lot of teams these days, the elite level, have 2 coaches, one of which is focusing on offense and one of which is focusing on defense.
Yes.
There aren't as many that have 3 with like an O coach, D coach, and head coach. But I think that's what you would want in an ideal world. And then I do think that like having somebody whose job it is to think about handler coverage, both, maybe it's one person for both lines, but like resets are so important to functioning offense and defense that you want somebody who's kind of focused specifically on like the minutia of the footwork and the angles and the things going on there. Because like your coordinators need to think more about like big picture decisions, like are we running a zone? Which zone are we running? But they can't necessarily be like in the weeds of like, hey, you need to like position your body 5 degrees further this way to take away this lane, this throwing window that this person likes. But you would want somebody like that. And I think you could similarly have somebody for downfield to do the same kind of thing. But I actually like more than needing a cutter person, I do think you need like a handler / resets type of coach who's focusing kind of exclusively on that. And then you also need somebody whose job is simply to call the lines, like who is going on these individual points. And maybe they're working in combination with the coordinator who's on a headset with them to make those decisions. But you really need the other coaches to be able to think about other things besides figuring out which 7 players are going to go onto the field.
If you have a line coordinator, like an offensive and defensive coordinator, I feel like that could fall under the head coach's purview because that coach doesn't necessarily have to be in the minutia of the respective lines. And that allows them to kind of have some control over how the vision is being executed for the team. So I feel like that role can maybe be rolled up. I also think it's important to have a coach who specifically makes sure that your team doesn't have numbers that can't be read. Like you need a coach just for that because I can't deal with these illegible numbers anymore. We got to get rid of that. We need a media coach, teach you how to do an interview.
Light yellow on gray. That's the jerseys I like.
You can have
coach. God, like
you can have
more
a low
media.
You can have a low contrast color combination if you just outline the numbers. It's not that hard. Please.
All right. That is going to do it for today's show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back with you next week to wrap up Pro Champs and look ahead to the Club Series. Thanks so much for being with us. Enjoyed talking with you as always. See us in Out the Back 2026 UFA talk, what we got right, what we got wrong, and a little World Games fantasy recap. Rockford back, baby.